Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. And yes, I have my lighting over here, I have my lighting over here, and I have my fan over there. How you doing? I hope that you and yours in YouTube land are happy and healthy, safe and well. Right now the time is approximately 11:36 p.m. Eastern Time, and the date is Wednesday, December 29th. Yes, Wednesday, I forgot for a moment, you'd think after 2 videos I'd know the date. Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. The moon is waning in Sagittarius and the sun is transiting in Capricorn. In addition, it is also the 4th day of Kwanzaa, and the principle is Ujamaa. And Ujamaa represents, among other things, and let me just get my trusty notes, cooperative economics. To build our own businesses, control the economics of our own community, and share in all the work and wealth. As somebody who used to teach prosperity classes, I can really get behind that wonderful concept. So I wanted to do, actually I need to do some backgrounds. So recently I received a gift from the priestess of Grove Argentum. In some of my videos I've mentioned Grove Argentum. It is a Manhattan-based chapter, or rather Manhattan/New York City-based chapter of the International Fellowship of the Goddess Isis. And in addition to spending time with the priestess, I have the honor and pleasure of being an initiated companion of Grove Argentum. And I had recently received a gift from the priestess, and it is my very first Lenormand deck. And I have since become quite enchanted by, interested in, intrigued by, and enamored of Lenomond. I already read one book on Lenormand, or on the topic of Lenormand, and I'm currently reading another. And I have expressed an interest, and I have acquired so far 1 or 2 other books on Lenormand, and I currently have 3 Lenormand decks, and there are more on the way. So Lenormand always interested me and intrigued me because it was a new card reading system. Well, to me it was a new card reading system, even though it's been around since the 1800s, if memory serves. And it's also a unique system, and it's unique to me in the sense that it's neither tarot, nor is it oracle cards, nor is it naipes, nor is it regular playing cards, etc., etc., etc. So I have thoroughly enjoyed being a student of cartomancy, or cartomancy once again. And I've been very excited about learning the Lenormand system. I've watched a few videos on YouTube, which have certainly led to adding more Lenormand decks to my to-buy list, as well as adding a few more Lenormand-themed books to my to-buy list. So I'm really very excited, and I wanted to do a walkthrough of my very first 3 Lenormand decks. So I'm going to begin with the very first one, which is called Old Style Lenormand Fortune Telling Cards by Alexander Ray. It is published by US Game Systems, which incidentally is headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut. And on one side it reads, Old Style Lenormand is comprised of 38 cards. Oh, I thought it was 36 for some reason. Of 38 cards, including 2 man and 2 lady cards. Ah, that's why. A 92-page illustrated booklet accompanies the deck. So I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos, also known as Drake, do a close-up of the box, if we haven't already moved in that direction. And I'm going to do a relatively quick 360 in all directions. And for the record, I had never heard of Alexander Ray, and I really don't know that much about Alexander Ray. The priestess had apologized to me because the top of the card was ripped, but I didn't take it personally. I mean, I'm still happy that the box is in sturdy condition. I cannot help, you know, every time I see a tuck box, I cannot help but think about Six of Wands. She is not a fan of tuck boxes. For me, I've seen them for years. It doesn't matter to me. Although I will say that I have noticed that tuck boxes don't last that long. And usually any deck that I have that isn't a tuck box, at some point I am finding a pouch for the thing. So far this has remained pretty sturdy with the exception of the rips on top, but you know, adhesive tape does work wonders. And I actually found a wonderful pouch on Otherworldly Wax's website, which is small enough to accommodate the cards. And of course I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos do a close-up of the pouch. It was the last one, it was the only one. In fact, I don't remember, and I purchased this last year, and I don't remember there being other pouches on the Otherworldly Wax's website. So I'm very happy that I was able to fit the cards in the pouch. And of course, my fellow purple lovers, you know I had to have it. So I'm going to do a very quick walkthrough of some of the cards. So some of you may recall, and I've mentioned this in a few of my videos, that when it comes to a non-tarot deck, I immediately look for the card that represents the High Priestess card for me. And not surprisingly, in this Lenormand deck, and actually in all Lenormand decks, it is the Moon card. And I'm going to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person, do a close-up of the Moon card in this Lenormand deck. And I'm also going to have him do a close-up of the back of the card design. And of course, I love the fact that I can tell right off the bat if it is upright or reversed before I turn it over. Again, upright or reversed. Now, I don't remember coming across any of, in the booklets, anything, or in the books, anything about upright or reversed cards. There is, and I will link the tarot, the Lenormand books that I have and that I am currently reading, as well as having read. And I will absolutely include links to them. One of the first things that I learned about Lenormand is that the card interpretations are very easy. And they're simple, and I want to say obvious, although I don't remember reading the word obvious. Like, for example, the house. You know, property, good fortune, stability. One of the lady cards, if the seeker, if the querent, if the sitter is female. We have the tree, growth. We have the scythe, cutting away what needs to be removed, separating the wheat from the chaff. We have the fish, absolutely good fortune, prosperity, wealth, and opulence. And we have the stars, divine guidance, spiritual unfoldment, spiritual radiance. The dog, loyalty. The garden, another symbol of growth, of prosperity, of adventure. I don't remember reading that with regards to Lenormand. Okay, now I'm going to show you. Now I happen to be a fan. I'm seeing the card sliding down, so you know what that means. So the second Lenormand deck that I have, and it's the first one that I purchased for myself, is the Gilded Javari Lenomond, which was brilliantly illustrated by the Ciro Marchetti. And I've been a fan of Shido Marchetti for a long, long time. And the thing that, I've mentioned also in some of my past videos and some of my fairly recent videos that when it comes to a tarot deck, the High Priestess card must meet my standards of Isisness, because in many tarot decks, the goddess primarily depicted on the High Priestess card is the goddess more commonly known as Isis. And I will say that there are a handful of tarot deck illustrators whose High Priestess cards always, always, always do it for me. Shido Marchetti, Eugene Smith. In fact, I recently finally purchased the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot, which was written by Rose Wright and illustrated by Eugene Smith. And truly, I now own every tarot deck that he's illustrated, and Mr. Smith knows how to illustrate a High Priestess card to the degree that I'm like, yes, my soul wants to use this tarot deck. And of course, the Lisa Hunt. I have virtually every tarot deck. No, actually, I do now own every tarot deck that she's ever illustrated. And every High Priestess card in all of her tarot decks truly resonates with me and accurately and honorably and beautifully represents the goddess more commonly known as Isis, or as she instructed me to call her by one of her ancient Egyptian names, Osset. So, let me show you some of the cards in the Gilded Javari, Lenormand, which is an expanded deck, by the way. It has 47 cards. Now, one of the recommendations that the Card Geek, whose YouTube channel I love, by the way, mentioned is that when it comes to learning Lenormand, stick with the first 36. Stick with the traditional 36. So if you have more than 36 cards in your Lenormand deck, take out all but the first 36 and only work with them. Now, I must admit, part of me is like, yeah, that's great advice, and part of me is like, yeah, but I want to branch out. So, depending upon my mood and depending upon how I'm guided and led, I will either follow that advice or I will not. We'll find out. And what am I saying, we'll find out? I've already done a few professional Lenormand readings, so yes. So, look at this gorgeous moon card. I mean, this is one of those moon cards that's like, BAM! Like, you are going to pay attention, you are going to notice, you are going to bask in the beauteous gorgeousness of me. Yes, you are. And of course, I love the back of the card design. But I love this moon card. Like, just stunning. And for those of us who love the moon, for those of us who resonate with Lady Luna and Mother Moon, yes. And I especially love that the lunar horns are holding a lunar disc, and all 8 phases of the moon, of Mother Moon, are depicted in this lunar disc. It is one of the most exquisite lunar images I've ever seen, and that it came from the creative essence of the Shido Marchetti does not surprise me. I believe this is actually the fountain. I keep thinking it's the garden, but I think it's the fountain, actually. Look at this elaborate anchor. Look at that detail. It's stunning. It's stunning to me. The house, of course. The snake. And I keep looking at it, and it's like, they look like, I mean, one could argue that those are apples, and I think that they are apples, but it's like, depending upon how the light hits them, they could be tomatoes or pomegranates, which is interesting because apples, tomatoes, and pomegranates, if memory serves, are in the same botanical family. For the bear, we have a polar bear, which I love the unique take on that. Of course, we have the mountain, the dog. This is one of the extra cards, the compass. I'm intrigued by this card, I must say. We have the mice, the mirror, I love that the banner underneath the sun depicts Roman numerals, and the Roman numerals correspond to the 12 signs of the Western zodiac. We have the well, another non-traditional Lenormand card, by the way. We have the ship, we have the letter, we have the clouds, and the fox keeps showing up tonight, so we have the fox. And what I love about this Lenormand deck is that we have two very distinct gentleman cards and two very distinct lady cards. And I just want to quickly show you the differences between the two. And what I find fascinating about these gentleman and lady cards is that they depict two different personality types. So, since I am a gay man, I'm going to start with the gentleman cards. So here's one of the gentleman cards in the Gilded Javari Lenormand. And, you know, one could say that he's a yuppie, he's conservative, you know, he's soft-spoken, mild-mannered. And then you have the romance cover man. Nom, 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 nom. It's like, ooh, hello. Yes, it's like Fabio with the hair. Yes. So yeah, I got caught up in the fever, what can I say? Yes, yes. And then we have the conservative lady of the manor, who is looking outside, looking at the world, looking at what needs to happen next, what she needs to do next, pondering, daydreaming, strategizing, analyzing. And then, this is a booby alert, we have the other lady who is very bold, outspoken, and she's letting her titties wild free. No Brazil for me, bitches. My girls are being freed. Set to play. I'm having so much fun with this. And really, I really love the fact that there is this fun and enthusiasm in learning Lenormand, so otherwise I wouldn't be so just joyful and jubilant about them. So that's my second one, and I must admit, given how much I love the artwork of Ciro Marchetti, I definitely am digging this Lenormand, and really it's just so beautiful. And last but not least, I am going to show you the fairy tale Lenormand, which was written by the Arwen Lynch and illustrated by the Lisa Hunt. And I'm going to have, I'm actually going to do, it's actually going to be more than a 360, but I'll do the 360 first. So, Drake, are we ready? Drake, are we ready? Okay, so here we go here, and here, and here, and that's bossed, by the way. and here, and now we're going to do this, and this, and this, and this, and of course, that. This is my first tinned deck, by the way. I've never done a tinned deck before, so I'm really excited about this. And I'm going to read what it says here. This enchanting... How many cards? 38. I'm expecting to see the number 36, and I'm not seeing it. This enchanting 38-card deck transports you into the magical world of fairy tales, where you'll discover valuable life lessons through the Lenormand cards. Includes 120-page booklet with foreword by Donnelly de la Rose. And I've heard a lot of wonderful things about her Lenormand-themed website, which I have visited once, but it was very, very brief, so I look forward to returning. These cards are a little too small for me personally, with my personal taste, but if you have especially small hands, this will be very comfortable for you. So, of course, the moon. And I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the back of the card design as well, because it is truly signature Lisa Hunt. Pardon me. And of course, look at this gorgeous moon. I mean, it's truly magical and enchanting. The child. The dog. The ring. The ship, and I love the dragon image on the ship. The bouquet. And surprise, surprise, the fox wants to say hello yet again. The fox. It's a lovely deck, and you know, I love and adore Lisa Hunt's artwork. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I have every tarot deck that she's illustrated. In fact, I finally recently purchased her Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, which is just amazing and magical and enchanting and a wonderful deck, in my experience, for deeply connecting with the spirits of the dead, and certainly has the potential to enhance mediumship. Just a beauty, and of course, I am excited about the fact that I have my first tin experience. So yeah, those are all the Lenormand decks that I have so far. And fun fact, I also finally purchased the Lunar Nomad Oracle, written and illustrated by the Shaheen Miro. And imagine my shocking delight when I started going through the cards and I saw that it was based on Lenormand, with extra cards, because it's not just 36, I think, if memory serves, it has 41. And the first card that's on the top is card 41, and it's the Seer. So I was like, oh, the Seer, this would be the perfect High Priestess equivalent. And then directly underneath is the Familiar card, and then, which of course depicts a black cat, and it just so happens that Shaheen Miro does have a black cat. I do not know the black cat's name yet. I have asked. But I will tell you that when I was going through the deck the first day that I purchased it, I'm looking at the cards and I'm like, wait a minute, anchor, coffin, house. This is based on Lenormand. I was like, I never knew this. And originally, I must admit, I was never drawn to the Lunar Nomad Oracle because I saw the imagery and I'm like, But I've really come to connect energetically with Shaheen Miro. I happily follow him on Instagram. I'm looking forward to buying his Lunar Alchemy book, because Lovers of the Moon, how can we not buy a book that focuses on working with the moon and the magic of the moon? And just really, it is such a beautiful, and Bost is walking on my frickin' keyboard again. I love you, Bost, but you gotta stop that. So, but in the meantime, I will happily update you in future videos about my progress with Lenormand. And for now, I want to thank the Priestess of Grove Argentum once again for giving me my very first Lenormand deck. I want to thank all of the people who have written a Lenormand deck, who have illustrated a Lenormand deck, and those of you who are going to do that. In fact, I actually found a pre-order item, a Santa Muerte themed Lenormand deck, which will not be published until sometime between March and July of 2022. Pardon me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Santa Muerte represented in a Lenomond deck, especially considering that I have both a Santa Muerte Tarot and a Santa Muerte Oracle card deck, both illustrated by Fabio Listrani, both published by Lo Scarabeo. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Santissima Muerte represented in Lenormand. Pardon me. Doing a lot of talking lately. So, and of course, thank you to all of you, and well, if I'm going to thank people, I must thank the late and great Marie-Anne Adelaide Lenomond for bringing the Lenomond card reading system to the world. And of course, thank you to all of you in YouTube land for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, and all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel. I wish all of you a great evening, a wonderful week, a happy holiday season, a happy new year, and stay tuned for the next video.